How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous day. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, hit the bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos. Also, make sure to head over to Twitch and follow me at Douglas447 with a capital D. Again, that's at Twitch at Douglas447. I stream there basically every other day. And in this video, we're going to be continuing on reading through Delta Force. This is going to be part 9. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out part 1 through 8, make sure you guys do that so you guys are all caught up before continuing on in this video. And this is going to be part 9. And we'll be starting off near page 57 and continuing on reading through. This will be picking up at the beginning of chapter 6, Dueling to the Death. I hope you guys enjoy. Nikolai and Nathan Sith had just arrived at the perimeter-protected town and were about to break into the town to obtain a gas jeep. "Stand back, my son," said Nikolai. Nikolai placed the palm of his right hand on the fence, and suddenly the fence around his hand disappeared. What was even freakier to Nathan was that the fence continued to disappear, creating a large enough hole for the two Siths to enter the town undetected. Nikolai removed his hand, and he and his son crawled through the hole in the barbed wire and electrical fence. "Over there," said Nathan quietly. Nikolai and Nathan were hidden on the backside of the building and were just a few steps away from starting up a gas jeep. "Nathan, go start the engine and move it out of the perimeter fencing while I cover you," said Nikolai. Nathan dashed into the jeep, started the engine, and plowed the front end of the vehicle through the fence. Nikolai joined his son in the passenger seat and sat back down in the comfortable chair as the son drove them towards the X3 mountain base. "Douglas, I have something on sonar," said Dave. "What is it?" asked Douglas. "I'm not sure, yet it seems to be large in mass and is headed our direction," said Dave. "Armed torpedoes, Dad. Devin, where are we?" said Douglas. While Dave armed the torpedoes, Devin used his map on the screen to realize they were inside of an underground pool, large enough to maneuver in case the object tried to attack the submarine. "Douglas, we're coming around the bend and we should be able to see whatever it is that is headed towards us," said Devin. The submarine turned the bend to see a shark with a mouth full of blood and prepared to swallow the submarine in one gulp. "What is that thing?" asked Deborah. "It is a super shark. They are rare yet lethal when encountered," said Ash. "Dad, lock on torpedoes and fire at will," ordered Douglas. Dave pressed two buttons and away two torpedoes went out of their chambers and towards the shark. "Impact in 10 seconds, said Devin. The shark was swimming faster and getting closer to the submarine and the incoming torpedoes. "Impact in 3, 2, 1, said Devin. Everybody on board watched as the torpedoes were swallowed into the shark's mouth. Suddenly, the torpedoes exploded inside of the super shark and the sea creature was no more. "Douglas, we have to leave this submarine and finish the rest of this journey through the passage in a shuttle. We rubbed a piercing rock on the hull and we have water rushing into the engine room," said Dave. "Everyone get to the shuttle," ordered Douglas. Delta Force and General Ace left the control room of the vessel and dashed into the sub's small hangar bay to see a smaller vessel, an underwater shuttle. Once everyone was inside of the shuttle, Devin opened the hangar bay doors to allow the lime green water to fill the area, and eventually drove the shuttle out of the sinking submarine. While Devin piloted the shuttle through the rest of the passage, everyone else watched as the X-3 submarine sank to its watery grave. After another 10 minutes of being underwater, the crew looked to see Devin piloting the shuttle to the surface. The shuttle arose from the large pool, and the hatch opened to reveal the forest of Yon 4 to the group again. "Look," said Devin. The group looked to see mountains to the left of their position and their perimeter fenced town to the right. "We must be 10 minutes from the X3 mountain base," said Ash. Everyone was outside of the shuttle and looked in front of them to see a familiar sight to most of the Corps members, the ARC 170 armored jeep. Suddenly, a gas jeep parked nearby, and the group looked to see Nikolai and Nathan Sith with their red lightsabers on and ready to use to duel with. "Douglas, I will hold them off while your team goes to the base," said Ace, activating his machine gun arms. Delta Force entered the orange-painted, two-front, one-back mounted machine guns and seats for 7-people jeep, while General Ace shot the wheels on the jeep Nikolai and Nathan drove. While Devin drove the ARC 170 away from the beginning battle, General Ace opened fire on the Sith. Bullets began to fly out of Ace's arm so fast that eventually his arm turned from the color of black to red. The Sith continued to use their lightsabers to defend themselves from the bullets, and started walking slowly towards the droid general. After a minute of continuous gunfire from Ace, his arm was overheated and could not fire any more bullets. Nathan dashed towards the droid general and sliced Ace's arm and legs off with his lightsaber. "Kill him, my son," said Nikolai. "No, he is no longer a threat to us," said Nathan. Nikolai and Nathan left Droid General Ace to lie on the ground forever and started walking to the mountain base where Delta Force was headed as well. "Devin, drive faster to the mountain base, for we have a teleporting Spinosaurus that is chasing us," said Douglas. Douglas, the person with the mounted back machine gun, cocked the mechanism to chamber the bullets and pulled the trigger on the heavy-duty weapon. "Roar!" yelled the Spinosaurus. Come on, ugly green and black striped monsters with the smell of pickle juice," said Douglas. Bullets were firing out of the chamber and the machine gun so fast that eventually the teleporting Spinosaurus had bullets through its eyes and into its brain. "Douglas, we have arrived," said Devin. Delta Force looked to see the Extreme Mountain base with the steel door missing and the roof gone. Devin put the ARC 170 armored jeep into park, and Delta Force exited the vehicle, still in amazement that the structure was still there. "Let's get inside and locate these devices, if they are here," said Douglas. "Why are the door and the roof missing?" asked Andrew. "Because of what transpired here during the last war against Satan," replied Ash. Delta Force walked through the smashed-up door, entered the mountain base, and froze to see the indoor waterfall still flowing with water in the old resting place of the Book of Power. "Spread out and search for the time machine and superweapon," said Douglas. The 6 members of the team spread out and searched every corner and every place they could think of, yet they could not find the devices. "What about this elevator that goes underground where I fought a teleporting Spinosaurus for the first time, and when I became the leader of the 2nd Unifor team?" asked Ash. "Good idea," said Deborah. Delta Force opened the elevator by pressing a button, entered it, and pressed a button inside of the crammed object to go underground. After 2 minutes, the elevator's door opened and revealed the bones of a teleporting Spinosaurus. "Look!" said Dave, pointing his right hand towards the strange objects. "Dad, we made it," said Nathan. Nikolai and Nathan entered the mountain base and saw the elevator. "Nathan, go over to that elevator and press the button to bring it from the basement," said Nikolai. Nathan walked over to the elevator and pressed the button, while Nikolai walked around the area to search out clues of Delta Force's location and their destination. Delta Force walked out of the elevator and heard the sound of someone above them. "Nikolai and Sith must have followed us inside of this base," said Ash. Douglas took the 5 grenades that he had on his belt, opened the door to the elevator, released the safety pins on the grenades, tossed them into the elevator, and sealed the door. "That should hold them off for a while we figure out how to destroy the armed fleet that is surrounding this planet and how to return to our time," said Douglas. Delta Force looked again to see the 2 strange objects located next to each other. The team walked around the bones of the teleporting Spinosaurus, and everyone realized they had finally located the time machine and the super weapon. "So what does the super weapon that Amanda built do, and what is it called?" asked Dave. "That is the very first Devastator cannon constructed by a Prime. It has the power to destroy an entire world, once it has been completely charged, of course," said Andrew. "So if we open the ceiling for a short time, someone could sit at the controls that are part of this thing and shoot down all the armed ships surrounding this planet so they wouldn't be able to return with us in time," said Douglas. "It was never built for that purpose, yet I'm sure it could do the job," said Andrew. "Dad, something is wrong with the elevator," said Nathan. "What do you mean something is wrong?" asked Nikolai. "The dial is no longer moving," said Nathan. "They must know we are here, and they prevented us from reaching the basement using the elevator," said Nikolai. "I have an idea," said Nathan, pulling out his red lightsaber. Nathan activated his lightsaber, placed it in the steel rock ground, and looked at his father. "Brilliant, my son! We can use our lightsabers to cut through the floor," said Nikolai. Nikolai activated his 2 lightsabers, and both Siths began to cut a circle in the floor to reach Delta Force. Suddenly, rocks and dust began falling down from the ceiling, and Delta Force realized the Siths were doing something above them to reach the basement. Andrew, start charging up the Devastator cannon to destroy the armed fleet around the planet, and afterwards the time machine so the portal could be created, ordered Douglas. Andrew raced over to the Devastator cannon, sat down in the chair with the controls, and started pressing buttons. The Devastator cannon was built to have a seat with the control panel on the ground, mounted on a rotating platform. The mounted onto the front of the control panel was the charging unit, then the firing chamber, then the aiming scope, and finally the exit barrel. The device must have weighed at least several tons, was colored black with red stripes, and was truly a super weapon of mass destruction. Another feature Amanda added on to the cannon was wheels to make it more mobile. Andrew left the seat of the Devastator cannon and started up the time machine to form the blue portal. At last, Delta Force's mission will be complete, said Ash in the back of his mind. Roar! Said the voice of a teleporting Spinosaurus, looking at the dead body of another Spinosaurus that was killed by the Arc 170 armored jeep. The teleporting Spinosaurus used its nose to seek out the ones who killed a member of his kind and teleported to the entrance to the mountain base. Luckily for the Siths, the monster was too tall to fit into the entrance. Dad, we have to move faster before that Spinosaurus eats us for its dinner, said Nathan. Nikolai looked to see the Spinosaurus begin its first ramming course into the mountain base, and realized he and his son might become a meal for the monster very soon. The Spinosaurus ran into the mountain, and rocks began to fall down from the ceiling. More rocks and dust came down from the impact of the Spinosaurus, and Delta Force realized that something larger than the base's entrance was trying to get inside. Douglas, Devastator is ready to open fire on the armed fleet, said Andrew, pressing buttons on the time machine. Ash, take control of the Devastator while I open a hole in the ceiling for you using my powers, said Douglas. Ash sat down in the chair with the control panel, and the entire team watched as Douglas closed his eyes. Suddenly, rocks began to fall down and move away from hitting Devastator. Within seconds, a hole was formed in the ceiling large enough to see the entire fleet. Douglas opened his eyes and began to laugh. What is so funny? Asked Deborah. You would think the Sith would jump through the hole I just made, yet they are so blind and evil that they are busy making their own hole in the ground, said Douglas. Permission to destroy the armed fleet, said Ash. Granted, replied Douglas. Ash aimed Devastator using the built-in scope, targeted the dozens of ships in space, and pressed the red button on the control panel. Suddenly, a blast of green light blasted out of the charging chamber, out of the barrel, and towards the armed fleet. Ash, rotate the cannon to destroy all of the ships. Devastator fires a high-powered beam of deadly light, said Andrew. Ash rotated the mouse on the control panel, moving Devastator and blasting the beam at all of the ships. Ship after ship, Ash touched the beam with it, and within 30 seconds the beam shut down. Delta Force looked around the hole to no longer see a single armed ship or fighter in space. Ash stepped out of the Devastator's chair to join the rest of the team, and Douglas used his powers to seal up the hole in the ceiling. Well done, Ash, said Douglas, with the rest of the team saying the same thing after him. Douglas, I have finished making the final calculations on the time machine, said Andrew. Suddenly, the special-made, steel-looking portal had a blue bubble in its center. Once we all enter that portal, we will travel not to the year 4440, but to the year 4444, said Andrew. What happens afterwards? Asked Evan. You will have no memory of the mission, and you will never know that you were part of a team known as Delta Force, said Andrew. What else should we know about? Asked Douglas. Everyone that we met will also travel to the year 4444, with no memory of the events that transpired in the past days, including Nikolai and Nathan Sith. The only people that will remember what took place will be me and Toa Ray Williams, said Andrew. What will happen if we meet you and what will happen if we meet you and you tell us of what we did? Asked Dave. You will never see me again after this, because you will never travel to the planet I will be on and die on. As for Ray, he knows that telling of this mission would disturb the timeline more and could end the universe, said Andrew. Nikolai and Nathan continued to make their circle in the floor and were nearly connected. Within a few more seconds, the circle was complete, and Nathan smashed his foot down onto it. The cutout piece of ground fell to the bottom of the basement and made a loud crashing sound once it hit the floor of the basement. "Roar!" yelled the Spinosaurus, about to smash into the mountain base and be able to enter. The Spinosaurus charged and smashed into the base. "Into the basement we go," said Nikolai. Nikolai and Nathan leaped into the hole just before the Spinosaurus ate the Siths with his wide open mouth. "Roar!" yelled the teleporting Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus took a gulp of water from the waterfall, left the mountain base, and returned to the forest. "That was too close," said Nathan. "I agree," said Nikolai. The Siths had reached the basement of the base without any injuries. "Hey guys, they are here," said Devin, seeing Nikolai and Nathan walking towards the area with Devastator and the time machine. "Dad, Mom, and Dad." That didn't come out right. "Devin, Mom, and Dad, get through the portal. Ash, Andrew, and I will deal with these two evil ones," said Douglas. Devin, Deborah, and Dave walked through the portal and vanished. "Thank you for leading us to the devices we have come for to use to rule the universe," said Nikolai, with his son, having arrived at the location of the devices. "You are welcome, and thank you for leaving your fleet in space, so Ash could destroy it with this Devastator cannon," said Douglas. "You did what?" asked Nikolai. "You heard me," said Douglas. "No matter about my fleet. Let's finish this once and for all," said Nikolai, with his two red lightsabers already on, and the same for Nathan's one red lightsaber. Douglas activated his green lightsaber, Ash activated his blue lightsaber, and Andrew entered a new clip of ammunition into his blaster rifle to use behind a box for cover. "Surrender your weapons and allow us to take what is ours," said Nathan. "Well then, feel free," replied Douglas. "How many more must die for these devices?" asked Nikolai. "Just you two," replied Douglas. Andrew aimed his blaster rifle at the four people with lightsabers, leaped into midair to begin dueling to the death. Red bullets scattered everywhere when Andrew could take a shot and not miss. Red bullets started scattering everywhere when Andrew could take a shot and not hit his allies. "Cling, clang, cling, clang, clong, ding, dong, clang," was the noise made as the lightsabers clashed together. As Ash battled Nikolai, Douglas battled Nathan, each side wanting something. "I have to have that machine," said Nathan. "What good would you bring of it?" asked Douglas. "I need it so I can prevent my mom from dying by the hands of my loving father," said Nathan. "What?" asked Douglas, confused with the lightsaber dueling still taking place. "My father killed my mother to save me from death. With the time machine, I can go back in time and stop her death, so she can live on," said Nathan. "If you do that, it will cause the timeline to rip apart, and the universe will cease to exist. You will not be able to see her until she dies of old age, if you do your desire," said Douglas. "You lie, Douglas Armstrong. I can save her, and I will save her," said Nathan. You are so full of the forces of evil that you are blind to the truth that your father used your mother to have you, even though he does not care for you or love you anyway," said Douglas. "Lies! Lies from the true devil," said Nathan. "I will not allow you to harm others just because of your desire to see your mother for the first time, and for only a few seconds before the universe is no more," said Douglas. "That death is the only option," said Nathan. "I tried to save him," said Douglas, in the back of his mind. Left and right and mid-air, the two fought long and hard. Cling, clang, ding, clang, clang, went the green and red lightsaber, dueling to the death. Douglas swung left and Nathan swung right, making a cross connection. Douglas used his teleportation powers to travel behind Nathan and swung his lightsaber high. "No!" yelled Nikolai. The body of Nathan Sith crashed to the steel floor, and his head rolled next to his father's left foot. "No!" yelled Nikolai again, in a deep heartache at the loss of his first and only son. "You three will all die now," said Nikolai, building up anger and wrath. Nikolai swung left and right against Andrew's few bullets and Douglas's and Ash's lightsaber. Cling, clang, ding, clong, clang continued for the 3 minutes the duelists fought. Ash, get to the portal while I hold off Nikolai, ordered Douglas. Ash broke off from the fight, looked at Andrew's face for the last time, and ran through the time machine's blue portal. Douglas, I'm out of bullets for my blaster rifle, said Andrew. Go through the portal, Andrew, said Douglas, battling Nikolai alone. I must go last. Once you enter the portal, Nikolai and I will follow, said Douglas. Douglas made a cross connection with his lightsaber against Nikolai's lightsabers and kicked the evil person in the wrong places. Douglas dashed towards the portal and walked through the blue bubble. No! Yelled Nikolai, realizing his mission to have the devices to rule the universe were not going to come true, and he would not be able to rule with his son, Nathan Sith. A flash of light blasted out of the blue portal and spread across the entire universe. Andrew Prime, Nikolai Sith, Droid General Ace, Toa Ray Williams, Fish Corps Piloton, the ARC 170 armored Jeep, the NS-7 T-14 fully repaired, and other life and objects entered the portal and returned to their times, or the year 4440. That's going to do it for me, guys. I'm going to end the video here. Look forward to part 10, which will be the last part here of Delta Force, coming out very soon. Bye, guys.